do you think you're doing? No, I don't like that. You're hurting my hand. Everybody, and welcome to CROCH-EH, a Canadian crochet podcast. I am your hostess, Claudia. Thank you so much for joining me. I herald from the base of the Rocky Mountains in southern Alberta, Canada, and I love to crochet. Let's get started. Okay, so I have a interesting docket, we'll say, today, so we will get on it. Today I am wearing my finally finished, altered, perfect crochet t-shirt that I added the additional bottom to. I finally got the ends sewed in, and it is perfect. It is perfect. I'm glad that I added the 8 centimeters because I feel like it fits my body so perfectly. Today, joining me in the very most annoying fashion right here is my big puppy Sterling, and yes, I kiss him on the nose and he hates it, but I do it anyway. He lets me. He is in massive molt mode still. I've been brushing him every day, but it seems like it doesn't make a difference. So yay, Huskies. They're the best. Not that he is a Husky, he's just a mutt. Okay, so what should we get started with? I have so much stuff off to the side here. I'm a little bit overwhelmed actually now looking at it. So maybe this is a good way to encourage myself to stay the course. So, okay, let's get on it. So I forget exactly how far I had made it on the dress. Yes, buddy. I had last time. He is not as inclined, by the way, to go away when I ask him to. So I have made some progress on this. I want to say that I haven't added this much since I last talked to you, but I've added a bit. But the only thing now that I'm getting worried is it's not quite long enough yet, and I have this little ball left and then about 7/8 of this skein. So I don't think I'm going to be able to put the arms on it because I went back to the store to get another 1 or 2 and there was 0. So I am now on the hunt for Burnout Premium in the color Moss. So I really hope that I can find it. Otherwise, unfortunately, I will be frogging it and making something else with it because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And I can't remember if I showed you guys this last time when I was working on it. And if I did, sorry to the repeat watchers. But if this is your first time, I'll just show you anyway. So here we go. So I made this, I want this pocket for the dress. So it is made of Burnout Premium. This is Moss, Silver Sage, Golden Wheat. And then this one is, I want to say that Michael's brand Impeccable, Loops and Threads Impeccable in, I can't remember the color, but it's like a really pretty, like rusty sort of chocolate color. I do need to block this because as you can see, it's got the waviness. But yeah, I like it. It's cute. It looks like a sunflower, so I'm going to put that on. If I finish it, that is. If not, I will just keep this because I like it and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So that's that. I watch Andrew Mowry's podcast on Fridays, and I'll link her channel up above here and in the description box below, so you can go check that out if you're a knitter. I'm not a knitter. I really like what she does and I appreciate it, so that's why I watch it, even though I don't knit. So she has several patterns of which I really like, and one of them is called the Shifty Sweater. So I decided I was going to try to make my own Shifty Sweater. And it's not turning out like hers all that closely, but I still like it, which is fine. I didn't want an identical one. If that was the case, I would buy the yarn and pay somebody to knit the sweater for me. So I have just got a bit of the yoke done. Ooh, I love this on camera. I think like when I'm so close to it, I get like kind of funny about it, but this is looking, I'm really enjoying it. I did some short row shaping in the back so that the top is higher than the front. So that it goes up the back of my neck a bit. And where did I do that? I can't even, oh, right here. So this right here is where the shaping is. I did it for a couple of rows here and here. You can see that. And what I am doing with it, so the top is front post double crochet, then just regular double crochet into the top to get the ribbing at the top. It's not super stretchy or anything like that. That's not what I want. And then I think it's just a row of single crochet, and then I did a section of linen stitch, but instead of pointing down, the linens point up because we're going top down. And if you go bottom up, they'll point down this way. So that's like this. This shirt was top down and it's linen stitch, so all of the points of the stitches go this way, which is fine. I like it like that. And then, oh yes, and then the next sections here. These colors aren't as different as I was hoping, but that's okay. Yeah, it's just, I think it's just the way that the yarn has ended up. So for this, I did 3 double crochets, then 3 chains, and 3 double crochets in the third, or one skip 3 chain, or skip 3 stitches, then start again. So it's a repeat of 3 double crochets, chain 3, skip 3 stitches, put 3. You just keep doing that over and over till you get to the end of the row, and hopefully your math works out, which mine did for the most part. And then you do the opposite in the next set of stitches. So where you have your chains, you'll have your double crochets, and you'll be actually attaching into the row below to get this sort of offset. So this pink row here, this bright pink, you can see this one, that's the first row, this orange is the second, and then this sort of brownie color is the third, and then this other orange is the fourth. So, and on the last set, when I do it, I stitch, instead of chaining and skipping across, can we see that here? Instead of chaining and skipping across this section, I put single crochets across the top so that you have a nice flat surface for your next set. And then yes, so then I did linen stitch and I repeat that. And then to break that up, I put a series of just regular single crochets. How many did I do? 3. And that's how that looked. And then you just keep doing that. That's my idea anyway. And the yarn that I am using for that is, I went to Michael's. They don't have, I want to say it was the Lion brand, but now I can't remember. Sorry. But I got this Facets yarn, which is like that Lion brand, like the landscapes. And it's so pretty. They have so many great colors. The color I was actually looking for and hoping after doing some research online was autumn. And my store online said that it had a bunch, but when I got there, there was 0. And I even looked in all the drawers underneath. So I didn't have a chance to get it. So I took, they still had this color in stock. I took that and sort of matched it to the other ones. And there was another one that I'm kind of wishing I had gone with it, but whatever, you live and learn. So I went with this one because I feel like when I put these two together, there were some similarities between them, which made it go really well. But then as a consequence, we've ended up with a lot of orange, which is fine. I love orange. So I think this is really beautiful. And I know a lot of people would be like, oh my gosh, that's hideous, but you make what you like, and I like this. So orange, yeah, orange is my favorite color, but it incorporates all of the colors really that I like and that I tend to skew toward anyway. So it has the purple and the turquoise, orange again, this really pretty sort of like magenta fuchsia color, all of that. And then, so this color is called Sweet Raspberry, and I don't have the label for these anymore, but this color is called Flame. I remember that. I had purchased this from a previous thing, was making something, didn't like it, ended up taking it out, and then I started doing this, and I was like, oh, this is better. So yes, so going back to this. So every row, I actually alternate the ball of yarn. So one row is this, then the next row that I go back, so I'm working back and forth across that. The next row will be this. So when you actually look at it, it's like 2 opposing spirals because of the way that it comes out, which I think that was really fun. I don't know, I like it. You can see it here actually. This is a good demonstration where we did the short row shaping. I have that here, and then you can see this is the next row that I used it, and it carries on going around, and then yeah, so on and so forth. So that one, same thing, goes down. It's easier to see with the taller stitches, right? And then yes, so this guy went down to here, and then yeah, so then this one goes the other way. It switches down that side, which I don't know, I think it was fun. So this is my crochet take on the shifty. In my Ravelry queue, it's called the either Not Very Shifty or Sort of Shifty or something like that. And I am not claiming design to this, nothing like that. This is a crochet homage one-off for my personal use, but inspired by Andrea Mowry because I thought it was pretty. So that's that. So if anybody's been hanging around here for very long, they'll know that I'm like a huge blanket person. I love making blankets. So I decided I would make some because I was cleaning up my yarn stash, and I was like, I know I'm never going to use this because again, I end up I get enough yarn for a project, and then I usually try to buy an extra one because I am a notorious terrible counter for my balls of yarn. So I always get what I think I need based on the math, then I get one extra just in case, and which has saved my butt more than once, let me tell you, except for this dress, but that was sort of a spur of the moment. I didn't actually go in with that project in mind. Anyhow, that means that I have a lot of balls that are not a full size, they're not the full length, they don't go with anything else necessarily, and they just sort of hang out in the basement because I don't want to throw away 7/8 or 3/4 of a ball, so I don't. So I got all those together over the weekend, and then I started making this. So I'm making a waffly rainbow blanket, and so far it is Michael's, this section here is Michael's Impeccable, I forget what color it's called. This one is the yarn, no, what is it, Craft Smart, oh, what is that called? It's like the regular, like Bernat size yarn in curry. And then I have some of the gold from the Bernat Premium in Golden Wheat. And then this section here, it's really hard to tell, but this section here is actually slightly different. Maybe it's showing up on camera. No, not really. To the naked eye, it's barely noticeable. But there's a section of yarn here that is, it's also Impeccable. I forget the color. It's probably just gold. I feel like the Impeccable yarn has usually very simple names. Then I have two dark greens here, and one is, this is Impeccable. This was a leftover ball of Bernat Premium. And then this is Impeccable, Bernat Premium, Bernat Premium. So this is leftovers from the Flat Unicorn Baby, which I hate to say, I'm not going to be showing you as a finished project because it's not. He's just laying in a basket right now. And yeah, that's that. So I'm working on this. It is, I think it's queen size. I haven't checked it. I usually just go by like what feels good on my body. So for this project, I am using a 5.5mm hook, and I'm choosing to use this one instead of my Susan Bates one because this one has a grip, and I still am having a lot of trouble. This is not from crocheting, by the way. I still feel like I'm having a lot of trouble with my hands. So a little bit later in the episode here, I'm going to show you some of the exercises and things I've been doing so that you can incorporate them into your crocheting and knitting time, so that you also don't have to suffer with this, because it's been a lot better, but I wanted to make sure I had a nice like thicker hook that I'm not like holding really tight, or that it's small and then it lends itself to having like a super curled up fist when I'm using it. So yeah, I got this one from Walmart. I actually have almost a full set of these with their plasticky handles. So yeah. These are really great, I think, if you're new to crocheting. These are not my preferred style, but they work and they don't catch, and I have never really had trouble with them, other than sometimes when they're a little bit old, the hook will slide out of the case, but that's possibly something that would happen with other brands. I don't know. This is just the only rubbery gripped ones that I've ever tried. Right, so you're probably somewhat interested. I don't know. I'm always interested. Sorry, I keep bumping that. In what I'm using. So currently I have a big bin here. I'm finishing this skein, and then I have a little bit of this same left over. This is the Silver Sage Bernat Premium, and then I have, this was Impeccable, I forget what color it's called, aqua something. It's pretty. And then this I'm pretty sure is Bernat Premium, and this is Robin's Egg that I've got. And oh shoot, now my piles are getting all messed up. I have this organized by color. This is Botany Teal from, this is not the order. No, I'm just putting in, so yes, Botany Teal. This was part of the Ogo that I never used. Those two Ogo, I listed them, oh gosh, quite a while ago. So that's from that. That is from that as well. That goes there, this goes there. This one I can't remember what it's from. Oh, I do remember now. This is a Karen Soft and something. I made my daughter's witch hat out of it, and I really didn't care for this yarn, but I had a little bit left from the project, and it's not quite the same weight as these, but it's close enough that I think it will be fine. And I already did that one. This is also from the Ogo. I'm not going to use this color inside here. I'm going to use that for something else because I only need it a little bit, but this will be one of the last colors. This one's just called Navy. It's really nice. And this is a Impeccable Purple. This was an ill-fated purchase, I guess. So this is Lion Brand Wool Like from Walmart. I want to say it's in Plum, something like that. It's not really enough in one skein for much of anything, so I'm going to add it into this because it's still an Aran weight. I've heard it pronounced both ways. Does anybody know what is the right way to say it? Aran or Aran? What's this? Oh, this is a super dark blue. I don't know where this is from, but it's like almost black. It's so pretty. And oh yes, I have a brown in here that I'm going to be able to work in. This color. And then, this is just going to segue into the purchases. This is the only purchase I've done, gosh, recently at all. I wanted another purple color, but purple seems to be a difficult color to find, so I ended up with this sort of magenta-ish color. It's really, I think it's pretty. It is called Dahlia, so that will be incorporated in there as well. So, that is what I am working on right now. And what I've purchased. So there we go. There is that. I feel like that's a lot. What else have I worked on? That's it. One thing about the dress is I am going to put it in hibernation for now until I can find the yarn, because I think I'm sad just looking at it sitting in the basket. I'll be folding it up. Hello. Yeah, Emma's here today too. Yeah, kiss you on the head. And yeah, that's that. So yeah, I'm going to be putting it in hibernation. Oh, I found another ball of yarn that fell down. This one too. This is a little bit of leftover. It'll probably make one stripe on the waffle blanket here, and this is Cantaloupe from Burnett Premium. I've had a few of these for a while, or talked about it a few times. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's that. So I should say before I get started, I am not a medical professional. You need to get yourself assessed by a medical professional if you are having pain that is unresolvable, or that if it's long-term. This is meant for instructional use only, not for substitute for medical advice from a licensed medicine practitioner. So as you will, I'm recommending this for myself. I'm just sharing what has worked for me in my specific situation personally. So okay, all right, so if you have been crafting for any amount of time, this has probably come up for you, and it's just because I've been like gung-ho and really given her that I have had sore hands. So I don't have carpal tunnel syndrome or anything like that, and I would like to prevent it as well. So I have found some stretches that I like to do that have been helping me, and I've noticed most of the pain is actually in my thumb. So it actually hurts a little bit on both hands to do this, and I think it's from just, this is my, like the hand that I hold my yarn in, so I think it's just from like the constant like flatness of my bones here and my tendons and muscles that's making that sore. And then sort of same thing when I crochet, is I get like that, or sometimes I really will squish it down and I get that quite a scoop like that. So it just puts a lot of pressure in here. So what I like to do, I don't know if this is recommended, but I like to gently, mind you, I like to take each of my fingers and I pull them very gently back. Sometimes they crack because I have cracky knuckles. So as you can see, I'm not going that far. And also, before we get started, so if I try and lift my fingers, I don't have particularly flexible hands, I would say. My daughter, on the other hand, her hands are like crazy scoopy. So I do it until I feel a stretch, not until it hurts. And typically these are not the parts of the fingers and hand that hurt. This one always goes back a little bit further before I feel. And then my ring finger, you can see it hardly goes back at all, just because the ring finger typically is a very sort of strong, tight digit. That's just how it works. Yeah, pinky, I can go quite a ways as well before I feel stretch. And then same with the thumb. So your thumb is kind of, because we have opposable thumbs, and it goes all kinds of different directions, I personally like to stretch it different ways. So I'll hold my hand like I'm going to go in for a handshake, and I will gently pull on my thumb, just very gently, I don't want to hurt myself, and it's not hard. And then also, if I can do it, I'll support the bottom here, and then I will lift it up like that. And this typically is what is sore, but when I do that, it makes it feel a lot better in the long run. So I do that as well. And then sometimes I'll squish it back over here. Even though it's been doing that a lot, I like to just give it, yeah, so that. And then also another thing that is beneficial is you can do this both hands at the same time, is just open and close them. And stretch your digits out as much as you can. Lots of people can go further than me. This is my hands. I just have these hands, right? Got to deal with the hands. Yeah, back together. And you can hold, if you feel it stretching, and don't do it to the point that it's sore. It's not a contest, but do it as long as kind of feels good for you, and then back together. And you don't need to put nail marks in your palms. I mean, I know that naturally happens when you have longer nails. For somebody who has longer nails, I am not sure what one would do. Perhaps you would just fold them this way. But then again, I'm not sure if you could crochet very well with super long nails, but still, like, you can still stretch and close if you have long nails without injuring yourself that way. The next thing that I like to do, and this one sounds really weird, but I twirl the individual fingers as well, in both directions, as well. So that's, again, like, that's kind of as much as you want, and you don't want like your bones and stuff to be like cracking around and making a ton of noise. Like, this is just very, very gentle, soft movement. I would say I'm doing it one time for the sake of expediency for this, but I would say do it between 3 and 5 times. That's typically what I do. If you just kind of want to base, or just do it once just to try it out. Another thing, oh gosh, okay, this one's funny to me, but I like it. And my wrists are very locked or sore or something, because it always is funny. So clasp your hands together like this if you're able to. This way doesn't work as well, but you can do it if you have issues with your hands. And then you roll them gently like this, and then back the other way. So it feels really weird, and it doesn't feel like you're really doing anything, but trust me, it helps a lot. And back. So yeah, you want to try it. You don't want to move it around like this, because that's not doing it. So you want to try and keep your forearms as close together as possible without getting like this. So it's hard. You have to like keep things together but be relaxed. I understand it's difficult. So kind of as close. So a lot of the times mine are like this. I don't usually keep them like this. I sort of keep them like bust width apart, and then yeah, just add back and forth very gently, and you're not pushing your hands, just really rolling them gently. And finally, the last thing that I like to do is, this is a little bit twofold, and I find if I do it the different ways, it stretches a little bit differently. So I will put my hand out straight like this, and then again, very gently taking all of the fingers at once, and pull back again until you feel a nice stretch, not hard. Again, you're not trying to touch your fingers to your forearm. You're just stretching things out a bit. I'll do the other one. Don't lock your elbow either. So I have hyperextending elbows, you can see like this. So yeah, don't lock your elbow. You want to keep a straight line, I guess, from your shoulder to your wrist as much as possible. And then yeah, do the tips of your fingers. You can pull the palm like down further. It just is less of a stretch because of, well, physics, I guess, because your fulcrum is here. So yeah, do that. And then I also like to do it this way. So I will put my arm up, and yes, I can see it looks hyperextended, but it's not. And then same thing, but I use my thumb on the back to give myself a tiny bit more leverage. And we do the same thing. And I find that this just stretches it a little bit differently for some reason. So I always do both. And this has helped significantly. And we just have to relax into it. This helps significantly with any of the hand pain that I've been having. So yeah, it's just this one thumb, but I think I jammed it at some point recently when I was doing something, because I remember hurting my hand and I don't remember exactly what I did, but yeah, so that is that. So now you feel all good. Yeah, you can do this too. Yeah, so I would say, going back to this one, if you do your hands like this and you go both directions, I would actually end up switching, I think, and doing it as well. Oh, that feels so awkward, but yes, if your capabilities don't enable you to do this and you need to do this instead, then switch one, switch the other. If you're somebody, I have seen a lady, she has, I think, one arm and she crochets. You can do a lot of these exercises that might take 2 hands. You could do this standing up against a wall or seated against a wall. So you could hold yourself out like this and like this, for example, and you could even do your individual fingers, I think. At the edge of a door frame, that would work, because you could press, your pinky into the door frame. Each individual finger, you should have enough space to do that. Or if you have exercise band equipment, that would also work. You could, even with that, you could probably work your hand and put the band behind that way and pull it this way. But again, I'm not a medical professional. This is something to take up with a sports medicine therapist, your general practitioner, something like that. If you have questions about, my arm is hurting, what should I do? I'm just saying what I would do and some suggestions on things that might work for other people with different abilities. Alternately, for all of that, you could also get a stress ball and squish that if you have the ability to do that. So those are my tips for stretching out your body parts when you're in a heavy crochet mode like myself. I feel like I've been busy. I feel like I wish I had more though to show you guys, but this is what we have, and I am happy with my progress since last time. Today I am drinking, it's Stash brand tea. It is the Red Dragon chai, so it is naturally caffeine free, says, because it is a rooibos tea. So I like this for afternoon because it feels spicy like chai, but without the caffeine, because Lord knows I don't sleep very well. I've had insomnia for, gosh, for years now. I am medicated for it, in case you were concerned or wondering, and it is prescription medication. And in regards to my mental health, this is just a small caveat, I'm not going to go off on a big thing. In regards to my mental health, I don't really like to discuss medication. I'm not shy about sharing that I do take medication, but when it comes to online or even other people in real life, I'm not a big advocate about discussing necessarily what I am taking, unless someone says, oh, hey, I have tried XYZ. Have you tried this one? And then we can engage in a conversation. And I might say, no, I haven't tried that one, or yes, I have, or something like that. But I don't just broadcast it out, because medication is not a one size fits all thing. So yeah, so I'm not going to discuss ever on YouTube what medicine I take or the dosage or anything, but I do take medicine to help me combat my anxiety and depression, and I also take medication so that I can sleep, because the sleep is the root cause for most of the issues that I typically end up having. So it is very important that I treat that first, and then we treat the other stuff second, because the one affects the other one so much that if I don't sleep, I'm like insane, and it doesn't matter how many antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications that I take. It's not really going to help it until we deal with the sleep issue, but also the sleep is caused by anxiety. So it's a lovely, like, terrible little cycle, but because it's treatable, we treat it. Go on with that. Why did I get onto this topic? Yes, I do recommend this tea if you are somebody who likes tea, likes chai, and doesn't want to be up all night. It's good. I am using my cup. The other night, my husband was having a bath, and I left this in the bathroom. Oh, there it is. And he was saying that this looks like Ember, and I thought that was so funny, because for a long time, I thought that this looks like a wolf's head, and then this is sort of like a stylized tail. So I'm not sure. I don't think that it was supposed to be anything. It's just like marble effect, but I don't know. We got a kick out of that. We thought it was funny. What else is new? Oh my gosh. So last week after I posted the episode, luckily we had a stretch of Chinook weather, which I've talked about Chinooks in the past, but a quick rundown of Chinook is there is warm air that comes from BC over the Rocky Mountains, and it comes down in southern Alberta. It gets really nice and warm for wintertime. So I was glad to have that. Unfortunately, it causes tons of migraines for people, so that's not awesome. Anyway, I don't get migraines. But it was warmed up. And it was probably 4 degrees Celsius here most of the time, which I know most of you people are probably like, oh my gosh, what is that? It's 40, I think, Fahrenheit, something like that. It's in that neighborhood. Anywho, so yeah, that came through. And then our furnace decided to quit working. So the fan was working and it was blowing, and we could feel the air coming out of the vents and everything. We have centralized heat in our house. We don't have radiators, even though I wish we had radiators sometimes, but that's okay. That's what most houses have here, is central air, forced air heating. So yes, and we took out the furnace filter. That's usually the first thing that we have to do, and we go through a lot of filters just because all the pets and my husband doing construction, it's always dusty, and I try to extend their life by vacuuming them a bit to keep them clean for a tiny bit longer. But I mean, they're not made to vacuum and like last for months and months and months on end. So I usually buy fairly inexpensive ones and just change them really regularly, because then it ends up the same as if I bought the expensive ones anyway. Like, I don't find it lasts any longer to get the expensive ones. So we do that. So we tried that. That wasn't working. My husband has 2 air compressors, thank God. And he took his little one downstairs, and then he used the little attachment. I don't know, it's the one I use to clean the baseboards because it works really well. And he sprayed the inside of the furnace itself out where all the sensors and everything are, because sometimes if those get dirty, it doesn't work. So he did that, and then found tons of dirt in there and all kinds of weird stuff. That wasn't working. It was flashing this symbol. So we ordered a part on Amazon, and we weren't able to get it for 4 days. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I kept my eye on the forecast like a hawk, because if we weren't able to get that part and it got awful out, we would have had to shell out a ton of money to get somebody to come and fix this thing. So, you know, like, again, like, thank God the weather held up. We have a fireplace off to my left here that we had on for the main level. And we had a space heater in the basement that I learned very quickly. You should never plug a space heater into a extension cord. So that is a word from the wiser now to the others. You guys, if you have a space heater, don't put it on an extension cord. We didn't have a fire, nothing like that, but it got quite hot. And luckily I was around while that was happening to sort it out. So lesson learned. We didn't have any gas leaks or anything like that, and eventually we did have to call somebody because we got the part in from Amazon. My husband changed it. It booted up one time just fine, and we're like, oh yes, because I could smell, you can smell when hot air is coming out of a furnace for the first time in a little while. It has like this burnt dust smell, and also it was dusty very much in there because we were blowing around with the air compressor so much. So it did that, and then it went to kick in for the second cycle once the temperature dipped down and it quit working again. So I almost started crying. I was so upset. So we had to call a guy, and it turned out the igniter was not good on it. So he replaced that, and ever since that, it has been fine. Thank the Lord. I'm so happy about that it was an easy solution to this problem, because, drumroll please, it is now like minus 24. So I am incredibly thankful that, I'm not thankful that the furnace broke down, but I'm thankful that when it broke down, it was nice weather and none of our pipes froze, and we could basically continue life as usual, because that is fantastic. So I am so glad for that, and all of that happening at that time and not this week, because I don't even know what I would have done. Okay. Oh, we're all decorated for Christmas now. We would have done it this coming Saturday, but the kids wanted to do it this previous Saturday because they're bored. And I was like, you know what, like, Remembrance Day is done, which I believe in the States is Veterans Day, and in the UK is Armistice, that doesn't sound right, Armistice Day, something like that. I'm sorry, I'm totally butchering the word. I don't mean to, it's no disrespect, but it's where we remember the end of the First World War. It's commemorative and to remember all the veterans who have served in any wars that any of our countries have been into. So there's that. It's past that day, so I feel like we have to show respect for those people, and then after that we can engage in that. And being a Canadian, we had our Thanksgiving in October, so we don't have October or Thanksgiving to deal with, so we could just put up the Christmas tree. So we've done that. And this year, typically I don't go with themes, but this year I was like, can we just, again, like, this one time, I want to decorate it kind of the way Mommy wants to, and then you guys can decorate it how you want. And my daughter did help me, and she put a couple of other ornaments that she wanted on the tree on, but we have a snowflake theme. So I will add a little clip of our tree at the end of this segment so you can take a look in case you're into that. And we have, my husband really likes the little village. I'm not sure if it's showing up here. It's probably too bright. Yeah, I'm not seeing it on camera. He really likes those little, like, Lemax is of one brand, or Lemax, I'm not sure how you say it. It's Lemax. You can often get them at Michael's or Walmart or anything, like, or at the places like that. They are like little, like, pottery places. I don't know, they're super cute. I like them, they're really adorable. My husband collects those, so we have that up in the window. And I have battery operated candles, because I have been known to forget we have flame candles on the go. But also, as a side note, those battery operated candles do not lend themselves to me remembering to blow out other candles, so just be warned. Yeah, we have that. I have a big star from IKEA. I'll show you guys all of this stuff, but I will just describe it before we have that. I have a big star, that paper star that I got from IKEA that we've had for several years, that I love it so much. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, and we have our stockings and all that fun stuff. So do you guys have your Christmas stuff up? I would love to know. If you have a link to Instagram post of your stuff, or if you have a video up, please let me know in the comments below, because I love to see how other people decorate for the holidays. We don't really have that much stuff. We're definitely minimalists in terms of, this tea is so good. We're definitely minimalists in terms of our decor in our house. So we only have 2 tote bins of Christmas things, whereas my sister-in-law, whom I love dearly, she has, I think, a whole section of her basement that's dedicated to her Christmas decor. That being said, I love going to her house because it's like winter wonderland, but we just don't have anywhere to put that stuff. And I don't hate on anybody that has more than one Christmas tree, nothing like that. So no, just know, like, this is what we do at our house. I love how everybody else does everything at their house. Oh, sorry, this guy behind me, I totally forgot. Back in, it was probably 2007, it was a long time ago. We being my husband and I, we were at Indigo, which is a bookstore like Chapters in Canada. And we were walking through and they had this little guy. So he is, I love him so much. This is my Mensch on the Bench. So he is the Jewish similar entity to Elf on the Shelf. We didn't name him anything. We just call him the Mensch because I believe in the book it says we can name him. But I leave him there. Whoops, he fell down. Oh no, there we go. I thought he was so cute, and I love the idea behind him. He has this little book, and you have to buy it to get the little story, but it tells you like what a mensch is and what the historical significance of him is, all of that stuff. So I thought that was really awesome, and I do not have him as a disrespect to the Jewish people. I have him because I really am interested in religious Jewish history and culture. I'm not super well versed on any of that, but I really appreciate it, and I really like learning about it. And this is our way to incorporate a little bit of something other than just like Christianity into our holiday celebrations, because the Jewish people were a huge part of the Bible. I don't know if I've ever said this before. I identify as a Christian person. So yeah, this is not to be disrespectful at all. He's not a toy. He only comes out for the holidays. He is kept. I have his original box actually down here that I keep, and the kids are not allowed to play with him. Nobody plays with him. So yeah, here's the book here, and this is his little bench. Oh, the box upside down. So yes, he stays in here when not in use because I don't want him to get wrecked. I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want him to be upset about things. I like to have him out because he's so sweet and smiling as well. Okay, I feel like I rambled on a lot, so I hope you all enjoyed that. So I'd love to have a discussion with you in the comments below about everything. Oh yes, and my hand. I've had people ask. So I scratched my finger going into a cupboard to get something on a shelf that was here. I hit it like that and scraped a bunch of skin off, and for some reason I keep bumping it. So normally I hate Band-Aids. I do. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like these kind of videos, give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe below and hit the bell so you get notified of the next time that I upload an episode. I am so glad that you spent some time with me today, and we will see you next time. Bye.